Here we are back again with Gangster of the Constitution, a subsidiary of the Jewels of Knowledge Media Productions. We're at the BGN Studios. Subscribe. Don't want to miss anything that's going on. We have got a rousing show for you today. I got stuff you would not believe. That's why I never said it on the show, because you never believe what we got to go through today. So get ready for 1 hour of action. Wow. All my Facebook friends and all of my YouTube friends, call your friends, because you finna find out something now. All right, we're going to start with the Center for Immigration Studies. Well, that is a group, that try to help out to figure out how we're going to get out of this immigration stuff. And I gave them a call and I asked them, had they heard of the the 1967 UN protocol? Well, you all know it because we've talked about that before. And they didn't really know about it. So I talked with them for about a half an hour, and believe it or not, that was on the feed online from the immigration study. That's your first feed. And it was all about the United Nations 1967 protocol. And I learned even more because they related it to a protocol that happened in 1951 about immigration that they shouldn't have did. Then they related that to a 1980 issue on Refugee Act. Wow, so I found out a lot from them just by giving them information and trying to seek out people, because I thought I was the only one that ever heard of the 1967 protocol. See, because you guys never hear it. That's why I tell you, sometimes you got to go outside the box and just start learning. Now, I'm not going to go into it with you about the protocol. You have to go back and watch the December 21st show, and you'll see what it is. And, oh, how do you love this? Don't you just love this shutdown of the government? It is the best thing that could have ever happened. And you know what I really like about it? I like to turn to the stations, everybody calls their spot a station. I like to turn to the black guys station. I had so much fun. I must have hit about 25 of them, and they smiling. They saying, yeah, they gonna want me now. The white daddy done took that money. They've been dissing me all these years. When I'm talking about how she took his kids, and oh man, the black guys couldn't be happier. One guy said he's not a Trump supporter, but he says he support that and he support immigration. So wow. And the thing I gotta say, you guys have heard me before about this, how they married the government and sold their kids to the government prisons. You already know all this stuff. Well, it looks like they're going to have to slow their roll. And they were on there about, oh, how am I going to feed my kids? You know what I told them? How did you get that kid? You use the same thing. You just don't give it away. Hit the bars. Hit the strip joints. Hit the streets. That's what they're going to have to do, because these people are serious. If they cut that thing off, you can't just sit there and starve to death. But some people are saying there's going to be a big riot and whatever. But at any rate, it will start teaching people how to be self-reliant. You guys have heard me say this before when I wrote the first welfare reform laws. And you guys saw my award from Congress for doing that. How do you think the work first got set up? In my state of Michigan, it's called Work First. And they were supposed to be going to school, while they getting the check, so you be ready for the future. They didn't pay it any attention. Oh, they do when the Republicans are in office. But when the Jennifer Granholm, the Democrat, got in, they spent 8 years of weed and ganja and the boyfriend of the month and all this and just popping out babies, and I felt like they were using the children as welfare slaves. I really have never liked it. Never. It's okay to use it for a stepping stone and then you step on up your game, but they didn't do that. So now the hammer may drop even harder. So let me look here. Oh, I'm going to help the black guys now who's sick of the immigrants. That's what they were saying. I'm telling them 63% of the immigrants are on welfare to the tune of right at $70,000 a year. The rest of them got your jobs. Some of them are on welfare and got you and working. So they got you screwed two ways, and maybe you guys will get up and fight. Because remember I told y'all before, I hope you didn't forget it. I told you guys that's what's taking the jobs all across the nation. It's the immigrants. They're not really allowed to do it in the fashion that the way that they're doing it. And I've told you this before. It's the UN 67 protocol again, that where the Democrats sold our country to international law. It's not really real. Oh, I can stop it right now, but they scared. You know how scary they are. Let me see I think I got one more thing from the black guys, because I really enjoyed talking to them. Oh, we were talking about we hope the computers stay down and wipe out every name and they have to start all over again. That's what we were saying. And to all of my guys out there, I won't mention anybody's name, but hey guys, it's your day now. If they keep that government shut down, those girls, you'll have a field day, because they can't say, but I and one of them was saying, well, I'm married to the government. That's my husband. He takes care of all of my kids' food. And, oh, it was disgusting. So let's end that story. And let's go on now to the yellow vests. I got a clip for you on them. It's just like I told y'all. The white people was going to rise up as many times as they've heard my shows. I hope that's what the deal is, because I'm going to be honest with you. On the 8th week of the protest, I had a live news feed. It was like I was, for 5 hours, I was in Paris. I mean, it felt like I was right up and down the street with them, and I was, you know what I'm saying? They sent me a live news feed. Whoa! It was amazing watching them people. They were just turning over cars and screaming Macron. Some of them called him macaroni. They talked about it like a dog. It was a great experience to be on a live feed in that type of protest. Wow. So you white people, I love you. See, here's the way I see it. If the white people don't get up and fight, if they don't fight, we're going down, because especially in America, because it's so many foreigners here who want to take over what was built by the white man and the black man. You know how many times I have to keep telling y'all that same thing? There are not enough black people who support freedom for all. They too busy worried about the Democrats and the welfare. But that's changing. That's changing. People are starting to once again be concerned. Like the black guys, the ones online, I bet you all of them won't vote for Trump. So I'm counting on the white people. And I tell them in Congress, y'all need to get up and do a better job. So that's what I've got to say today. to the white people, keep up the fight, because if the white people go down, so do I. Because everybody, no one's going to come to this country and give a care about Americans. You see what they're doing to Americans now. What do you think going to happen later? Well, let's move on here to,
Paris.
Oh my goodness, we got to go to Paris. Wow. That's your clip that you fixing to see is Paris. Yes. And I won't have to talk to you because you're going to love it. It's hopping, it's popping. So watch that clip and wow, then we'll be back momentarily after you see that clip.
Bon, par contre, faut mieux... Hey, dégagez, par contre.
C'est une Audi, l'Audi elle est morte, ça y est. C'est Lodi, elle est morte, ça y est.
Yeah, remember I told you that the Yellow Vest move is coming to our land? Check out, I got another tape. It's from Texas. Check this out.
Hey folks, this is a video that was uploaded by an RTR Truth Media contributor. It's my friend Murdoch from Texas and the protest that they had trying to educate people. The studio version of this, and I couldn't find it anywhere. Not under any of the keyword search terms that you'll see. And I'll talk about in a few minutes. So check this out. This was a rally to inform people about their power and their ability to be able to overturn unjust laws and essentially nullify them. So check this out.
To the Frank Crowley Courts building this afternoon. The group Sons of Freedom says the protest was about government overreach. They say the primary purpose of the demonstration was to educate jurors about their rights. It includes the principle of juror nullification. That's the concept that a juror finds someone not guilty because they morally disagree with the law the defendant is charged with violating.
As a juror, you're actually able to judge the law itself. It's something that you feeling is against your conscience, that you can say not guilty just because you believe it to be true.
And you may have noticed many of those protesters wore yellow vests. Organizers say they did so in solidarity with recent protesters in France.
So as you see now, this is a really important event, the guillotine, the yellow vests. I mean, this is something that should be a viral clip on Fox News's site, but it's nowhere to be found. I scrolled the entire site. It's nowhere in search terms, under yellow vests, under guillotine, under jury nullification. It literally was a report that went out and then disappeared. If it wasn't for Rudy, I wouldn't have a copy of this. And I think that it's really important. So anyway, jury nullification is a tool that we can use. It's really important that you, if you're not aware of your right to oppose these laws, when you become a juror, never try and shirk from jury duty. Get on those juries and try and nullify these ridiculous authoritarian laws, these scribblings by political parasites put on paper and enforced upon us even against our will or common sense and decency.
We were at peace in the Jefferson years, but we were not at peace in the years of the president who followed him. And the president who followed him decided to punch the British in the nose with a couple of skirmishes that were instigated by American warships in the Mediterranean. This would lead to the War of 1812. This would lead to British troops landing here. This would lead to their burning the White House and burning the Capitol building. And quite frankly, what didn't start this way almost became an effort to take back the colonies. We, of course, also attacked British troops in what is now Canada in an effort to instigate this war. So we instigated the war in the Mediterranean and in Canada, and it ends up being fought here. It was fought in the hills of Maryland, where outside Upper Marlboro, Maryland, a platoon of 50 British soldiers was marching through the town when they kidnapped 4 townsfolk and threatened to hang them. On the night before the hanging, a local militia from the town invaded the British encampment and kidnapped 6 British soldiers and threatened to hang them. Of course, the hanging of the townsfolk was postponed until this standoff could be resolved. How was it resolved? John Hodges, who was the mayor of Upper Marlboro, marched very bravely, without any armaments, without any support, directly into the British encampment, introduced himself to the captain and said, "I'm the mayor of this town. I'll make you a trade. I have a deal for you. We'll return the 6 troops. You return the 4 townsfolk." The captain said yes. The troops went back to their colleagues. The townsfolk came home. The War of 1812 was ended, not because of this, but at about the same time. The British went home. The new country was preserved. There was a tumultuous parade in Upper Marlborough. At the parade are all local, state, and federal officials, and the guest of honor, the parade marshal, is the mayor because of what he did. At the end of the parade, there's a speech from a podium, not unlike this. But one federal judge in that part of Maryland introduces the mayor and praises him to the skies. The mayor gives a speech. The crowd goes crazy. The mayor walks down off the podium when two strangers meet him. One of them hands him a piece of paper. The other, as he reaches to grab the paper, puts handcuffs, shackles on his two wrists, and they cart him away. They were both federal agents, handing him an indictment for treason, providing aid and comfort to the enemy in wartime by returning the British soldiers to the rest of their troops. What the heck is this? This is the Justice Department deciding to prosecute a genuine, if ever there was, American hero. So the trial comes. The federal judge that introduced him at the end of the parade is the one presiding over the trial. Everybody in the jury had either marched in or watched the parade. The U.S. attorney prosecuting him was also on that day as at the end of the parade. So the U.S. attorney stands up and said, well, look, Your Honor, everybody knows what he did. It was an act of treason. Even though I applauded it at the time, I didn't realize it until the passage of time. Defense counsel stands up and says, we know what he did, and everybody in this courtroom appreciated it. The judge then says, I'll show you how different the days are today. Gentlemen of the jury, there were no ladies on juries in those days. It's a much better system today. Gentlemen of the jury, I want you to go across the street to the local tavern where we have reserved a table for you and plenty of liquid refreshment. And when you consume the liquid refreshment, come back here and give us your verdict. At this point, the jury foreman raises his hand and says, Your Honor, even though we would love to partake in the court's generosity at the tavern across the street, we don't have to deliberate. We already know the verdict. You know the verdict already? Yes. What is it? The verdict is not guilty. So, of course, everybody in the courtroom goes wild. It's a just and fair result. What was that? That was the first example of jury nullification. That was 12 farmers saying to the almighty federal government, you see this threshold? Thou shalt not cross it if your heart is unjust.
Anyway, if you got something from this video, please like, subscribe, share it with everyone you know. You can go to rtrtruthmedia.com, smash that PayPal button, or you can go to the High Impact T-shirt store through our website. And if you click on the link on our website, Brian Young from High Impact Flicks and I profit share. It doesn't cost you $1 more, and you get to support both channels at the same time. So pick yourself up a politically incorrect T-shirt, or you can make us a one-time donation at PayPal. All of your help and support is appreciated and needed. And thanks to all the folks out there that have made this channel grow exponentially over the past month. My love to you, and see you next time. RTR Truth Media.
Freedom is our answer. Unfortunately, we had a pretty darn good document, never perfect, but it's totally ignored right now. I mean, there's not much attention paid to the Constitution in Washington. There's not much attention paid to it by our executive branch of government, and we don't get much protection from our courts. So one thing that might happen from this, if the people finally feel so frustrated that they can't get the results out of Washington, they're going to start thinking about options. They might start thinking about nullification and a few things like that. But my suspicion is there will never be official nullification or official secession. But if the government continues to fail and they can't deliver anything and the checks bounce, we will be forced to take care of ourselves, and we will be forced almost to ignore everything they do, because they'll become irrelevant. The only way they will be able to maintain order is more violence and more authoritarianism and more, pressure on us. And that is the great danger. So we live in this precarious times where we'll have to make a decision. Are we going to opt for liberty, or are we going to sit back and say, oh no, they're going to take care of us. We're going to bounce out of this recession. We're going to have jobs by the time I get out of school, and it's going to be all right. I say invest in your education. Find something you can do so you can take care of yourself in the best manner possible. But also invest in the cause of liberty. Study it, understand it, and spread the message, because we must win. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Hey people, we're back. Now, for all of you people who are new, or for the ones of you who didn't understand, I'm going to let you see again what happens to women over in Afghanistan, all those places. You remember the killing of Farkhunda? Well, we're going to show you that again, and I'll tell you why we're going to show you that. The Democrat Congress has just passed Sharia law, where Omar came in there and she fooled them into thinking that the hijab is a holy garment, a part of the religion. That is the biggest lie ever. Women are not a part of that Muslim religion. That's at the mosque, and no one's there but men. What the hijab means is it's a super inferior person. You so inferior that you can't come out on the street without that hijab. And if you do, you can be stoned to death. Usually it's from somebody in the family, because you have shamed them by coming out the house without your hijab. You may die. So they didn't tell Congress that. They got Congress thinking they're doing something holy, which they can't do it no way. But it's the gist of it is they played them. Congress got played. And okay, Omar talking about the hijab, but she's wearing the hijab for whores. They can't have their faces out. You have to be in the red light district, available for anyone, and you can still get stoned to death. So it was all kind of lies and misconception about that hijab, and I call all the top guys, McGovern especially him, I call all of them and say, research this thing. So they've went ahead and after 181 years, they've ruled that you can wear the hijab on the house floor. Well, this is sending a signal to them crazy men that you can now stone women in America, because people take things like that seriously. So now we got the Democrat Congress supporting the death stoning of women. Now, also what we're going to come back to is the second half of the inbreeding. So why don't you watch this little short clip of inbreeding? Because see, y'all don't believe me when I be telling you these people married four cousins at the same time. That's how they're becoming the fastest growing religion. So, wow. You guys, you better wake up. Congress has made it okay for women to be death stoned. So watch this clip.
Through nursing your wife's mothers and your stepdaughters under your guardianship, born of your wives unto whom you have gone in. But if you have not gone into them, there is no sin upon you. And also prohibited are the wives of your sons who are from your own loins, and that you take in marriage two sisters simultaneously, except for what has already occurred. Indeed, Allah is ever forgiving and merciful. Yeah, if you read this verse over and over, it becomes just weirder and weirder. According to this verse, cousin marriages are allowed. There is no other mention in any other Islamic source whatsoever about this matter. Today, because science shows us the ugly truth, some moderate Muslims propose that there are actually hadiths that discourage cousin marriages, even though such a thing doesn't exist. All of those hadiths that are brought up by moderate Muslims in order to challenge people about cousin marriage have no basis at all. Islamic scholars grade those hadiths as extremely unreliable because they have no reliable chain of sources and the narrators are unreliable. Also, if Muhammad really had discouraged cousin marriages, he wouldn't have done it himself. The life of Muhammad and his companions is called the Sunnah and is seen as the perfect way to live, an example for all Muslims, for all humankind. Well, Muhammad married his first cousin Zainab bin Jahsh. That's also the same Zainab who was married to his adoptive son, whom Muhammad married right after they divorced. What is more important and shocking about this marriage is that Muhammad said clearly that Allah arranged this marriage. So Allah made Muhammad marry his cousin and set an example for the whole future, for all humankind, for all the Muslims. Muhammad also arranged the marriage between his cousin Ali and his daughter Fatima. Ali is a very important person in Islam, more so in Shia Islam. Ali is the fourth caliph in Islam. Umar, the second caliph, also married his cousin. So among the first 5 leaders of Islam, of which one is the Holy Prophet, the founder of the religion, 3 married their cousins. Of course, Muslims have no problem with it and think it's a great thing to do. Nowadays, Muslims make up miracles. They say that Allah and Muhammad predicted things that no one could have known back then. Of course, all of them are totally fake. In today's time, where we know that cousin marriages increase and double the risk of having disabled children and bring along other risks as well, we should of course expect that a God and his holy prophet, especially if they talked about the matter, could have warned us about cousin marriages. If Allah was all-knowing, and Muhammad even split the moon in 2 with Allah's help, why did they not warn us about the risks of consanguineous marriages, when these marriages were even practiced in their time? Did Allah think it's not so important to mention that you might have disabled kids if you have sex with your cousins? Were Allah and Muhammad aware that such marriages increase the risk of having disabled children, but Allah still arranged Muhammad's marriage to his wife, to his cousin? Is this what Islam wants, disabled people? Just think about it. Thank you for watching. If you like this video and if you like my content in general, please don't forget to like, subscribe and share. And please consider supporting me on Patreon to help me create more articles and videos like this. You can easily sign up on Patreon through the link in the description and can pledge a monthly amount of only $1, $2 or $5, or even more if you want. I would appreciate it so much, and it would help me to focus only on this. I would, with your help, make so much more of this. You can also follow me on social media for updates. I'm very active on Twitter and on Instagram. And if you like reading articles, I'm also a writer on Geller Report for Pamela Geller, and I have a few articles there and more will come. Thank you for your time and stay away from incest. Thank you for your time and stay away from Islam.
Hey people, I'm glad to be back and I'm happy to be able to bring you all this stuff, but I'm just not getting started. Okay, I got an imam from Australia. Let him tell you that they're not supposed to be on welfare. You just wait, you hear what he's saying. They be fooling y'all, telling they got to eat halal and all this stuff. And he's telling you, I tell you what, watch the clip.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. My brothers and sisters, something that's really been eating up at me
is the amount of lying and cheating and dishonesty that has become abundant in our community. How many of us, my brothers and sisters, we're lying to the welfare system, we're lying to Centrelink, we're lying in this, family daycare stuff. For what? For what? For a few extra dollars at the end of the week? Sisters are walking into Centrelink with her hijab, kids in the pram, kid on her hand, and she's pregnant, and she's filling out paperwork, signing it, claiming that she's in a de facto relationship. What happened to the quality of a believer? A believer is supposed to be honest. A believer is supposed to be truthful in all of his dealings, in all of his transactions. Indonesia, a whole nation, it embraced Islam. How? Because they seen how the Muslims used to deal in their business, and they knew this was something special. These people are too honest. This was something special, and they embraced Islam. A whole nation. And yet look at the way we deal. Our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam was always concerned about his earnings. Always concerned that everything he earns is halal. To the point where, imagine, the Prophet of Allah, he's seen his grandson Al-Hassan, and he had a date in his mouth. Imagine this is a young boy who had a date. The Prophet of Allah, he ran to his grandson and took the date out of his mouth. He said to him, "What are you doing? Don't you know that this is charity?" And the family of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he doesn't eat from the charity. Imagine a date, he was concerned about it. Yet you and I today, no one cares anymore. The Sahaba, imagine your mothers, our mothers, they used to say to our fathers what? They used to tell them, go out and earn that which is halal. Even if it's something small, we don't mind. Why? They used to say we can be patient on being hungry, but we cannot be patient on the hellfire. No one cares anymore. Lying. You're signing paperwork claiming that you're doing something, and you're not, and you're earning money. And what you're not realizing, my brothers, just because everyone around you does it, that doesn't make it okay. This money that you're earning, wallahi, even if it's $1, this dollar is haram. It's haram, and everything that you do with this $1 is haram. So you could be eating halal, food that's slaughtered Islamically, and you said Bismillah, but you bought this food with that dollar that is haram, then this food has become haram. Your drink has become haram. You're living in a house and you're paying your rent, and you're paying it with money that you've earned from Centrelink through lying about your condition and your status. Then your living in this house has become haram. People always complain to me and they tell me, brother, I make dua and I don't feel connection. I pray and I'm not feeling anything. Why? Because of this. Because of this is playing a massive role. The Prophet of Allah used to always warn his companions, be sure that everything you eat and everything you earn is halal. Why? Because it has a direct effect with our connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And finally, for those people who want to claim to me that, oh brother, look, we're living in a, that we're living in a non-Muslim country and we're in a state of war, so therefore we're allowed to cheat and lie. Where do you get this from? And then when we look at our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, look at the way he was. When he was in a real state of war, when the people of Mecca were after him and they had a bounty on his head and they were going after him to kill him and have his head, and the Prophet of Allah, he left Mecca to go to Medina. What did he do? This was a man whom even the non-Muslims, they used to testify and say that he was what? As-Sadiq al-Amin. And they used to leave their belongings and they used to leave that which was valuable with him, sallallahu alayhi wasallam. So when he left Mecca for Medina and he had their belongings, what did he do? He left his cousin Ali bin Abi Talib radiallahu ta'ala anhu. He said, Ali, you stay behind and you give these non-Muslims, you give back to them which belongs to them. Why? If that was you and I, who cares, brother? Rip them. Take their stuff and run. No, this is not Islam. The Prophet of Allah, he left Ali back to give back to the people which belongs to them, because as a Muslim, we don't take anything that doesn't belong to us, even if it's something minute. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to make us of those people who only earn that which is halal, and to put barakah in our living and in our eating. And until next time, assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Hey people, you see what I mean? You heard what the Imam said? They're all a bunch of fake infidels. And they be trying to tell you guys that Allah ain't studying them. The wrath of Allah is on them. Allah don't believe in begging. Oh no, how that make him look? Let's just say there is a spiritual world and there are gods. How you think Allah probably ashamed to come outside? All his people all over the world begging all the Christians and the Catholics, and they're trying to beg the Japanese or Buddha. They just all over the world begging. I bet you the other guy's laughing at him. So Allah is not in this. All this destruction that you see them doing, they're not doing it in the name of Allah. I don't care what they tell you. You better get wise. This is something some people are doing because they get paid. He just told you, hey, check it out. It's even worse. It is even worse, people. We're going to show you a clip now where they bragging about having 22 kids. They're 4 wives. We're going to show you the first half of it, and you'll see it in writing. And they bragging. Next week, I'm going to show you how they're on street corners bragging to the white men over in the United Kingdom about, we're going to take y'all over because we got 4 wives. We're going to have 22 kids, and y'all ain't going to have but 2. So they want to take over the entire world with incest, replicating the same genetic code over and over for thousands of years. To me, I call that subhuman. And I also say, if they want to be on welfare, 2 kids and then you take a chemical castration. Something like that. So watch this clip and you're going to see who really fights against them. There's one guy named Tommy Robinson. Well, you know, they beat him up and put him in jail. Then you're going to see a woman. She got up in their face and she had a big, huge cross. Just like you do Dracula. It was something else. Hey, people, watch this clip.
Do you know who you're messing with? What are you looking at? You fucking bitch! Come here and say something, shut your mouth! Fuck you, mate!
This is say, sir?
Our country, mate. It's our country.
It's your country, is it? Yeah.
Our country.
Your country? What, it's a Christian country.
Christian country.
It's a Christian country. Yes, it is. This is a Christian country.
You jealous? You jealous that we're taking over?
You're not taking over. No.
Why are we jealous you're taking over?
Why are you taking over? How are you taking over?
Mate, we've got it, mate. We've got it.
You've got it. Is that what you think?
It here.
You haven't got it. But you've got people scared. You don't have us scared. No. You think you can take over town and tell us that it's your country? You've taken over. Not for long. See this cross? This will prevail.
What the f*** you putting your camera at me for?
And in this neighborhood, that makes Robinson a marked man.
And then you got something to say?
Robinson calls himself a soldier.
Oh God. No. Oh God.
And this is his war.
Oh God.
America's going to see firsthand what's going to happen. This is what's happening. This is coming your way.
USA, watch your back! USA, watch your back! The Muslims are coming back!
On one side, British-born radical Muslims.
We don't worship Obama, we don't follow presidents or prime ministers, we only follow Allah.
Who believe they're fighting a holy war against the West.
Allahu Akbar.
And want Sharia law to rule the world.
The last hour will never come until a group of Muslims rise and conquer the White House.
In one part of town, Ramesa and his associates have set up so-called Sharia patrols to go out and discourage behavior that they deem un-Islamic.
There's some guys there.
On this night, they stopped to talk to a couple of non-Muslim men who were in a park drinking beer, which is forbidden under Islam.
So we're just reminding the community.
Hey guys, you think that's bad? No, it ain't. Rashida Tlaib and Ilhan Omar have drawn the wrath of the Saudi Arabian kings and the United Arab Emirates. We're going to show you a clip from them. 1 minute clip where you're going to see the Saudi kings and you're going to see Talib and Omar. It says the UAE and the Saudi Arabian kings have a media war against Talib and Omar. How could you get in that much trouble in 2 hours? They hadn't been in Congress. In fact, about it, they had that clip out before they even got there. I'm lucky because, you know, everybody around the world send me their clips. I don't know who they think I am, but everybody sends me their clips and they want me to air it. So I'm going to air the 1 minute clip and then I'm going to read the letter. Roll that clip. The Saudis. Hey people, do you believe it? Well, I'm going to read you an excerpt from that letter that they want the world to know about. The United Arab Emirates and the Saudi kings say Talib and Omar are miserable creatures. They have declared a media war against Omar and Talib, and that was before they even got there. How could you get in that much trouble so fast? The UAE and the Saudis compared Omar and Talib to slaves. They said when you buy a slave, buy a stick to beat them with because they are miserable scum. That's what they're saying, and you see the letter there. They said that Omar feels inferior and tries to compensate by avenging her people. Omar, her seat in the house, she wants to use it to oppose the Saudis for their thing that they did in Yemen. She wants to attack them because of something that they did. And she wants to attack Riyadh. You know, I don't know why, but she was told to do these things. That's what the Saudis and the UAE are saying. And they end by saying Omar is a miserable creature that wants to hold the Saudis' kingdom accountable for the war in Yemen. Saudis have United States support, so I don't know how they're going to get that done. So it looks like she's mad because she got kicked out of Yemen and now she wants all these things to be done to the Saudi Arabian kings and the UAE, that's the United Arab Emirates. Well, I don't support that because as long as I've been knowing it, The United States has always supported those people. Anyway, they got all the oil. She ain't got no oil. She ain't got nothing but her greasy head. That's the only oil she got. Well, anyway, that's coming to you from the United Arab Emirates and the Saudi Kingdom. Now, we got to talk about something else really, really bad now, people. We're going to take you to Miss Amanpour. She's one of the lead newswomen around the world. We're going to do a short clip this week of what she's working on now. She's working on how they marry kids at 8 years old. So watch this clip.
اسمي روان ميلاد قداح، مواليد 97. أبي اسمه ميلاد موسى قداح. عائلتنا مؤلفة من 7، أبي وأمي ونحن أخواتي 5. أبي كان يشتغل قبل الأحداث مزارع، يعني كان عنده أراضي يزرعن وكذا. مع بداية وطبعا قبل الأحداث أنا وأبي كان دايما أفكارنا متناقضة مع بعضها، يعني أي شغلة كنت أعملها كان هو يضربني عليها، وبعد أي نقاش بيني وبين أبي كنت أعرف إنه في قتل بالنسبة لإلي. مع بداية الأحداث طلعت مظاهرات، بعد هيك مظاهرات مسلحة. مع بداية المظاهرات المسلحة أبي صار يفوت لعنا مسلحين على البيت، كان أحيانا يفوت عنا 3 أو 4، وكان معهم سلاحهم طبعا بارود روسي، وغير هيك أنا كان يفوتوا معي سلاح تاني بس أنا ما كنت أعرف شو هو نوعه. أنا استغربت من هذا الشيء. 15 يوم يعني أبي لا أمي لا أخواتي يفوتوا لعندي بغرفة معزولة تماما عن الوضع الخارجي برا، لا تلفزيون ولا تليفون، يعني غير أطلع الحمام وفوت بس. يعني كان وقتها بهاي الفترة استغربت من تصرف أبي إنه مدللني يعني بالأكل بالشرب، يجيب لي شو بدي، بس يعني ما نعني عن التواصل الاجتماعي البراني بالمرة، حتى المدرسة ما يعني إنه أروح عليها. بعد فترة 15 يوم إجا أبي لعندي، فعم بيقول لي إنه كرمال روح على الحمام كرمال أتحمم. فأنا استغربت منه وفرحت بنفس الوقت إنه بده يفوتني على الحمام بعد 15 يوم. فورا أخذت ثيابي ورحت على الحمام، وأنا عم أتحمم هونيك إجا لعندي واحد تقريبا عمره فوق 50 سنة، فهو ما كان لابس غير ثيابه الداخلية، فحاول إنه يعتدي علي بالحمام، بس هو ما حسن، يعني الحمام ضيق وأنا كنت صرخ وعيط، فما حسن إنه يعمل شي بالحمام، فشدني من شعري وأخذني على الغرفة. وأنا عم صرخ وعيط بالغرفة كان أبي سمعاني يعني، بس هو ما إجا لا ساعدني ولا حتى إنه طالع الزلمة من عندي. فهذا الزلمة اعتدى علي، كنت أنا عزراء بهذاك الوقت، فهو اللي فك لي بكارتي. بعد هيك فورا ما في ثانيتين ولا إنه فايت زلمة تاني لعندي، يعني لسه ما لحق هداك يطلع قام فات لعندي واحد تاني. قمت أنا كمان بنفس الوقت صرت صرخ وعيط وكذا، بس أثناء إني عم أصرخ وبعده عني قمت غبت عن الوعي وما عاد وعيت على شي لفترة تقريبا صحيت بعد ربع أو 3 ساعة. بعد هيك بعد ما صحيت إنه صرت ناديت لأبوي، اجى ابي لعندي على الغرفة، فانا عم قل له انه ليش هيك عملت واجوا لعندي وكذا، وليش ما فتت لعندي وانقذتني منهم وكذا وهيك. فهو عم بيقول لي انه معلش هذا كلياته جهاد، وكل ما انت عملتي هي الشغلات كل ما خليتي واحد من المجاهدين ينام معك كل ما زادت حسناتك وقلت سيئاتك، وحتى لو متي رح تموت.
People did not tell you it gets worse. It gets worse. This next clip is going to show you a sex jihad. This man sold his 11-year-old daughter to some jihadists, telling her some story about, she going to heaven and all that stuff. Watch this clip and just watch it because I'm getting very upset. speak about America a little bit right now.
For sure.
And we're going to see what this immigration has done to the United States. But the immigration that we're going to be talking about is not the Muslims. They're mostly destroying Europe. They're just now working on America. As you heard the man say, America, we on our way. Right now, we got the border people. And I want to take you to MacArthur's Park. MacArthur's Park is now a slum. You remember the beautiful MacArthur's Park? It's a slum. Let Donna Summers sing to you now. I may not get a chance to come back, but if I don't come back, we'll see you next week. Let Donna Summers take you into MacArthur's Park and remember the way it used to be. Watch this clip and we will see you next month.
Never waiting for us, dear. It ran one step ahead as we followed in the dance. The garden's heart is melting in the dark. All the sweet green icing blowing down.
all the sweet green icing.